sitting here in amazement that the Texans did not bench C.J. Stroud at halftime. I don't know how you don't. Not only was C.J. Stroud horrible yesterday and threw 4 interceptions, but he was horrible the game before against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You'd seen this movie before, and I actually had I did warn JB on Friday's show. In one of the few things I've ever gotten right, predictions this season, I was like, hey man, C.J. Stroud can be worse than he was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he turned out yesterday he was. And at halftime, Marcus Spears and Ryan Clark had an interesting debate about whether C.J. Stroud should be benched. And, of course, Ryan Clark defended C.J. Stroud, which set off a controversy over social media. But let's play SOT 3.
But Swag, 4 interceptions in the first half. With 30 minutes left in their season, I think the Texans are talking about who's playing quarterback in the second half.
It's got to be a conversation between Davis Mills, and I get it that it's your starter. You want to bold confidence. But C.J. Stroud looks rattled right now. And there was a little bit of this in Pittsburgh that had me concerned about tonight. Taking care of the football was the premium tonight. This defense for the Houston Texans, thank God it's the Houston Texans defense. Because if it wasn't, this game would be absolutely over right now. And I think as a staff, you got to go in and ask yourself, not can he throw it or not any of that. Where is his mind? Somebody take him in a room and say, CJ, where are you right now? Be honest with me. Because if not, Davis Mills will have to be the guy.
You are not having that conversation with C.J. Stroud. The second half has legit ramifications on whether or not C.J. Stroud is the quarterback for the Houston Texans going forward. 3 years in a row, C.J. Stroud's gotten you to this game. This is the year you feel like you have the players around him to win it. There's no Nico Collins. There's no Dalton Schultz. There's no run game. They put everything on this young man's shoulders. Give him 30 minutes to show you that he's the guy you drafted second overall. He's the guy that's brought you here, and that he's the dude that can take you in the future. He's playing for it all right now, whether if it's his mind, if it's physical, if it's decisions, if it's bad throws. You got to let him go out and show you this is who he is.
Here's what I'll say in defense of Ryan Clark. I don't think that's a horrible take. It's a predictable take, but I don't think it's a horrible take. You drafted C.J. Stroud super high. You're all in on C.J. Stroud. Can you pull the rug on him at halftime of a playoff game? I think it's a legitimate argument. It's coming from the wrong person. Everybody interprets what Ryan Clark saying through the lens of, hey man, if this were a white quarterback, if this were Justin Herbert, he'd have a different take. If this were Josh Allen, he would have a different take. I think all of that is legitimate and real. He probably would. But his take isn't horrendous. The guy's C.J. Stroud's just in his 3rd season. Josh Allen is in his 8th or 9th season. There's a huge difference between those two and how long of a leash you give them. And so, again, not that anybody would be calling for Josh Allen to get benched at this point in his career, but the point is he offers a level of grace for C.J. Stroud, and most people think it's driven by race. It's actually, given Stroud being in his 3rd year, and that's not the decision I would have made. I've seen enough from Davis Mills this season, and I saw enough from C.J. Stroud last week that I actually anticipated what transpired with C.J. Stroud this week. Like, oh, it's going to get worse. If you've been watching C.J. Stroud this season, you knew, like, this guy's mind is in the toilet. He played poorly last week. He's played poorly most of this season. I thought Troy Aikman had an incredible comment during the game, late in the game, where he basically said, look, man, this guy hasn't been the same since his rookie year. They lost his offensive coordinator, And he hasn't been the same. And they're going to have to go into this offseason and figure out what the hell they have in C.J. Stroud. Troy Aikman said that. And I think that's what was somewhat legitimately driving Ryan Clark. Is like, hey, man, this is a test. Let's let the test play all the way out. Give him the second half. Because if you pull him now, he didn't get to complete the full test. And so it would be premature to pull him now. Now that we've ended the game, they've lost the game, his play really didn't improve, his head seems to be lost, I think everybody now, and I saw Booger McFarland tweet this out, and I've seen other people tweet it out like, hey, man, the Houston Texans need to have an open competition between C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills next season, and they might need to even draft somebody, second, third round, to bring them into the room. And I'm sure, I haven't seen it yet, but at some point, the Shedeur sexuals will jump into this conversation and suggest that the Houston Texans should trade everything that they have to bring in Shedeur Sanders. So anyway, move on and make one more point about Josh Allen. We did a little work before the show I'm trying to put this Josh Allen blunder right before halftime in proper perspective. It needs to be. And so we came up with a graphic, a list of the most significant flubs in sports blunders. And I'm saying significant. I'm not talking about the biggest, the most memorable, even though these are very significant and memorable. But I'm trying to ask myself, does Josh Allen crack this list? Because I want you to understand the context of this question. It's 16 seconds left right before halftime. You're down by 7. There's no reason to leave the pocket and run the ball as a quarterback. You have no timeouts. You're not going to make lemonade out of lemon doo-doo. It can't be done. You throw the ball away, you fall to the ground and take a sack. What you don't do is leave the pocket running and risk someone hitting you and you fumbling the ball. This is a mental meltdown of monumental proportions. And yesterday when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, this reminds me of Chris Webber's timeout against North Carolina in the 1993 NCAA title game. And then as me and Hadley and others started like, well, hold on, what are the biggest blunders? What are some of the most significant blunders in sports? And in 1994 in the World Cup, Colombia's Andres Escobar, he scored an own goal. And a few days later, some drug cartel murdered him. Go look it up. I don't know if it could get more costly and more significant than that on goal in the World Cup in 1994. And that was in a game against the United States that we ended up winning 2-1, had no business winning. But that cost Escobar his life. So I don't know if you can get more significant than that. Of course, you got Bill Buckner, his between-the-legs error in the 1986 World Series. You got Chris Webber's timeout against North Carolina. That was in the final few seconds of the NCAA title game. They're down 2 points. They have the ball. They have a chance to go up court. He calls a timeout. Many people tend to downplay this one or forget it, but Fred Brown's pass. Fred Brown was a guard for Georgetown. Georgetown had the ball running up court with a chance in the 1982 NCAA title game to knock off James Worthy and North Carolina, and I think Michael Jordan was on that team, had a chance to knock them off. Fred Brown, for no reason, throws the ball to James Worthy. Here's what's interesting about this, because I've actually rewatched this entire game within the last calendar year. Fred Brown, I believe, was point shaving during that game. If you watch the game, he had 2 or 3 other passes just as mysterious, just as foolish, just as impossible to understand as the pass he made to James Worthy at the end of the game. Announcers didn't pick up on it, no one did, but if you rewatch the game, you're sitting there the entire game like, what is Fred Brown doing? And then finally, the fifth one I have on my list, Draymond Green's flagrant foul on LeBron James. LeBron James and him got tangled up and fell to the ground, and LeBron James stepped over the top of Draymond Green, and Draymond threw a punch at LeBron James's balls, basically, and got a flagrant foul, and it turned out to be he was over the limit for flagrant fouls in the postseason, and he got suspended for Game 5. The Cavaliers were in a 3-1 hole. Most people believe, including Draymond Green, that his suspension and that flagrant foul cost the Golden State Warriors the NBA title. They're up 3-1. They end up losing the series 4-3. That Golden State team had the best record in NBA regular season history and had a chance to go down as the greatest team in NBA history. But Draymond Green's flagrant foul cost them, and they lost the championship. I say all that's 5 really significant acts or blunders in sports. Could Josh Allen's second quarter blunder, fumble, crack that list? It's hard, but it's in the conversation.
Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your fearless friends.